Hello everyone, True Zero Emissions here. This is going to be my review of the Sherman L. I have no idea what I'm going to say except just to tell you that I owned the Lynx before this, and the Lynx came out about approximately 1 week after I received, the Sherman L came out, I'm tired right now. I just rode 60 miles as fast as I could go. Okay, that's like 45, 50 miles an hour, 90% of the time. Now on the Lynx, this is the Sherman L. On the Lynx, if I rode these same speeds, which I have done, I've ridden the same exact way on the Lynx, and I had to charge it 3 times to go the same distance. So that means that this has significantly more range. They say that the Sherman L has 50% more capacity of battery, which is 50% more range, and it's incredible because it only weighs approximately 12 pounds more than the Lynx, and that extra weight adds to stability. So I have experienced that. I'm very, very happy with Sherman L. I would say if you're even considering getting a Sherman L, I would say just get it. A lot of people have the Lynx and the Sherman L, and I can see why, because some people want that additional agility of the Lynx because it's a little bit lighter. I myself prefer a little more weight, and that adds to stability. I prefer that. I don't need the agility of the Lynx. I don't need that myself right now. I'm not at that level, if I say it that way. What I enjoy is the Sherman L's range, and to me it's very, very smooth, and as I've said before, I don't feel like I'm losing anything in riding the Sherman L compared to the Lynx. Now I was just indicating that the Lynx is said by many to have more agile, more agility, right, because it's a little bit lighter, but for me that resulted in less stability. I would get wobbles sometimes, like coming into corners really fast if I was going really fast and turning. And I know that can be solved with just more practice and learning more. But with the Sherman L, that's non-existent. I don't have those wobbles anymore. It's just completely smooth, which I like very much. So, and it also doesn't feel heavy. I don't feel like it's slower. I feel like it's as fast or faster. What I mean is, as I'm riding the Sherman L, and as the battery depletes, it seems to have more power, or it actually factually does have more power. I think it actually is a fact that there's more power because it's a bigger battery, right? So it's going to have more power for more time. So it's not going to have, even though the Lynx is incredibly good and great, when you have a much larger battery, it's the same battery, 50S cells. My Lynx had 50S, like Sam. 50S, that's the cells to get. Okay, those are the ones to get. Look at this, I still can ride more. It still has 1 bar left. Still has 1 bar left, and I've gone 60 miles. Okay, what else can I tell you? I'm running the Clark pads. I run these because it's easy. If I crash, my legs can come out real easily. I want that. I don't want my feet to be stuck in there. That's just how I feel about it right now. That could change in the future. One thing I did change on the Sherman L is I did a modification to the pedals. So the first thing I did to the pedals was I used the Dremel with the cutting wheel, and I just touched along each of these little, I'll call them little post spikes sticking up. I just touched the top, and that sharpened them. Okay, but here's the thing about that. They don't stay sharp very long. So what I did was I added these grub screws, and I don't know if you'll be able to see this. I'll try to put my hand here and help it focus. Do you see that screw in there? Now I drilled a hole in there, and I have a tap and die set. I think it's called the tap and die set, Irwin. But you can use, Harbor Freight sells them, and I do recommend Harbor Freight. Use the coupons if you can get any coupons for that place. But the prices are really good. And so I put these grub screws, I think is the correct name, between the spikes. So there's one here, right? Because these are the spikes that came with the pedals. Now you, if you want to, you can just change the pedals. There's companies that make pedals that already have a sharper spike here, and it will not let your foot slide. I like to work with what I have first, so I wanted to work with this, and I'm happy with it. Now my Lynx had Shinko 244, which I took right away. I mean, after 2 days of riding the Lynx, I got a flat tire because the tube started leaking, and I just cut the tube out. I pulled it out, and I put a tubeless valve stem in there, and I first researched this and made sure that no one had any problems doing that, no complications, no challenge, nothing going wrong with that, and I didn't hear of any trouble with anyone converting the Lynx over to tubeless with the Shinko 244, even though that particular tire at the time was not rated for tubeless. I think they make one now. You can check into that. I think there is a tubeless version of that, but check into that for yourself. So right now, this Sherman L, the Sherman L came tubeless. I'm so happy it came tubeless, because the first thing I was going to do to it is pull the tube out, and I'm so glad I don't have to do that. It's nice to not have to do that. I don't want to have to do that, and I don't have to do that with the Sherman L. It came tubeless, thank goodness. I don't run tubes in my electric unicycles. I don't want a tube in there. I want tubeless. That's just how my preference, and that's in my research and study and experience, is that there's significantly less flat tires with tubeless. And I'm talking about like 90+%. Like I would say between 90, 95, or even 99% less flat tires. My experience is 99% less flat tires. And I've heard as low as 90% less flat tires when I talk with other people. So, what else can I say about this? I'm very happy with it. I ordered this with the seat. I ordered this from Next Gen Mobility. I highly recommend Next Gen Mobility. And they have a website. You can look into that. I ordered it with the seat, and you can add the seat to that if you want to add that. I put the Clark pads on. It came with pads, but I put the Clark pads that I had on the Lynx. I put those on here because I prefer those. And what else can I say? Wear full gear, wear a full face helmet, wear a chest protector with rib cage protection on the side. Okay, a lot of people fall on their sides, and not many chest protectors come with rib cage side protection. And when you fall on an electric unicycle, it is common sometimes for people to fall on their side, and it will really hurt if you don't have any protection there. If you want to research this yourself, I do encourage that, but if I share my research with you, I found that the leatt, L-E-A-T-T, 5.5, now there's different ones. There's one that doesn't have a shirt connected to it, like a long sleeve shirt. I'm calling it a long sleeve shirt, where all the padding is connected to that, and there's one that doesn't have that, where it's just the chest protector, chest protector and rib cage protection and side rib cage protection, right? Which is important, because I fell on the side of my rib cage and it was very painful. And after that I got the leatt 5.5. Now some people say, oh well, there's a 6.5, that must be better because the number's bigger. Well, that actually has, from what I saw, less protection on the side of the rib cage. It was real thin right there. So maybe that number's higher, but it might be because it's lighter. It might be lighter material. I don't know. That's my guess. But you can look into that yourself. But the leatt 5.5 is the one that I went with. Alpine Star makes some really nice chest protectors, but again, I don't know if they make one. You have to look into it. That has the real thick on the side. When I say thick, I mean like a ½ inch or an inch. Really thick protection on the rib cage side, on the sides. I don't know if you can see this area right here on the side, right? So here's the chest, but the side, like underneath your arm, that's side, okay, that's the side. So, what else can I say to you? I want to encourage you, if you're even thinking about getting a Sherman L, to get one, because I think you'll be happy with it. Everyone's different, everybody has different preferences. I can only say that I'm happy with it, and if I knew how happy I would be with the Sherman L, I would not have waited several months to buy the Sherman L. I would have just done it right away. I would have sold the Lynx the moment I received it, because like I said, well, not the moment I received it, but when the Sherman L came out a week after I received the links, if I knew how happy I was going to be on the Sherman L, I would have sold the Sherman L. If I can go back, if I say it that way, if I go back to that time, I would sell the links right then, only having it 1 week, right? I would have sold it right then and purchased the Sherman L. But there's also something about waiting a little while when a new model comes out. Sometimes I like to wait a little while, and like if a new car comes out, a new model car, right? Instead of getting the first, when it first comes out, what if we wait a couple years and let them, you know, if I say it this way, perfect that model, right? Now with the Sherman L, I didn't wait years, because years with electric unicycles, it's so much changes in 1 year with an electric unicycle, right? So I wouldn't need to wait that long. I was thinking, when's something improved over the Sherman L going to come out? Like, when is leatt going to make, if that's the name of the company? This is all, electric unicycles new to me, so I'm not sure what to call this company. I know this says leatt on it, and it's a Sherman L, right? So I'm going to call it leatt. When leatt, when are they going to come out with something that has a even bigger battery, possibly the same weight or lighter, or not much more weight than this, but has much more capacity, right? What if they go with a graphene battery? I would love if we started having graphene batteries in electric unicycles. The technology needs to be developed. That's the thing. It's been sitting there just waiting to be developed, because scientists discovered over 20 years ago that this is the technology for batteries of the future, right? And that they just have to invest in it and perfect it, right? It's like the fuel, what is it called? There's those fuel cell cars, and they said, oh, this is such a great technology, but we have to invest millions and millions of dollars to develop it, right? That's what they were saying. Well, they did it. They invested the money, and now you can, I don't know if you have to lease those cars or if you can buy those cars, but they're out now. That happened. It took many years. That's where, if I understand correctly, that's where graphene is. Graphene has 4 times the capacity for the same weight. It has a 20 to 30,000 cycle life, charge cycles, right? Which the batteries we have right now, comparatively, is significantly less than that. Much less charge cycles than that, right? 20,000 or 30,000 charge cycles, like discharging and charging, discharge, charge. What else? The batteries, the graphene batteries don't catch fire. They and that alone makes it worth investing in, right? Because fires is a big thing with batteries. People are very concerned about that. Even though the safety measures have been taken, they're taking great safety measures. It's still nice to transition to a technology that has significantly more cycle life, significantly more range, right? 4 times the range for the same weight, because the energy density is far greater, right? What else? And can charge faster, can charge much faster, right? Imagine charging your electric unicycle in less than 20 minutes, fully charged, right? Because it can take a lot of power. Imagine if we were charging at like a Tesla fast charging superchargers, right? What if we could do that? Wouldn't that be nice? I look forward to that day, and I hope that day comes soon. Okay, what else? What else? Yeah, we do already charge we use Roger chargers. Right now we use Roger chargers. You can look that up, how to connect with Roger. We use Roger chargers to charge at 240 volt plugs. You can also charge at 110 volt. Those chargers are auto switching, so whatever you plug it into, whether it be 110 or 220, it automatically switches to that. You don't have to manually switch it. So I do recommend the Roger chargers. I'm running the V4 SC, which because this electric unicycle has so much range now, I no longer have to carry my charger with me on most rides. The ride I did tonight, the 60-mile ride, I didn't bring the charger with me. And usually on the links, I always had to bring that charger with me, unless I went really slow, which I didn't enjoy that. I did not enjoy going slow for a significant portion of the ride just to make it back to my destination. That no longer exists with the Sherman L. I don't have to worry about that. I can ride as fast as I can and still have extra range left over, right? Because this path I took is about 54 miles approximately. And at 54 miles, I still had, I don't know if it's 2 or 3 bars left. So the machine turned off. This is something the Sherman L and the links do now with the new software. I think the old software for the links didn't turn off, because I was talking with someone that never updated the software, and their link stays on. I learned the hard way. I was working on it, and I had regular shoes on. Right now I have boots on, so it probably wouldn't hurt my foot. But the links was sitting up, and I was working on it, maybe cleaning it or something, or maybe attaching the small micro tactical backpack to the back, where I put water and tire repair kit, which is a plug for cars, those patch kit, the plug kits, and some CO2 cartridges, things like that to air up the tire if I need to, things like that. So I was probably attaching that, and then the links went to sleep, and it went forward on my foot. It landed on my toe, and I thought I broke my toe, but it didn't. I don't think it broke. It healed, and it's fine. But if I can make a request to Leatt, please bring back the choice, at least the choice, to make the electric unicycle not fall asleep on us, not turn off, right? If it sits for 10 or more minutes. So everyone I talk to says they prefer their electric unicycle not turning off, or them having the choice to choose when it turns off, whether it be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or not turning it off at all, right? Having that choice. So please bring that. But aside from that, aside from the auto sleep that it does, where it turns itself off when it's just sitting, that's only when it's sitting, right? If you're riding, it's not going to do that. Obviously, it's not going to do that, right? Anyway, what I love about the Lynx and the Sherman L is the durability. These are extremely tough, right? The Lynx, during the time I owned it, which I put 4,500 miles on it, or almost 5,000 miles actually, it did not break, not even once, did not break. What did happen at the end is the on and off switch needed to be replaced. That's it. So the on and off switch had to be replaced because it wasn't responding to turning on and off. It stopped responding. Now that doesn't mean it was malfunctioning when I rode it. When I rode it, it did perfectly. Okay, so it always rode well. I never had any complications with it cutting out, turning off, nothing, none of that. So that's part of the reason that I went with an extremely high quality electric unicycle for my first electric unicycle, right? I learned on an InMotion V10F, but my first electric unicycle, that was loaned to me. The first electric unicycle that I purchased was a Lynx. And this is my second electric unicycle, which is a Sherman L, which I highly recommend. And I want to say this: if you love your Sherman L, if you love your Lynx, but you want more range, I would say do not hesitate to get yourself a Sherman L. And you can still keep your Lynx, or if you want to use that money selling the Lynx towards getting a Sherman L, that's another option as well. And that's what I did. I sold the Lynx to help pay for the Sherman L. And like I said before, I'm going to keep saying this: if I knew how happy I was going to be with the Sherman L, I would not have waited not even a day to sell the Lynx and get the Sherman L right away. There was no reason to wait, because I went through a lot of frustration where I'm sitting there at the charging station, and I'm talking about fast charging, right? I'm talking about V4SC Roger charger, charging at a level 2 electric vehicle charging station, charging super fast, right at 18 amps. I would charge 18 amps, which these cells can take. I think the Sherman L, I haven't done it yet, can charge at 20 amps, which I'm looking forward to doing. And it's at least 20 amps, and I'm looking forward to doing that with the Roger charger. That's going to be obviously it has to have enough power at the plug you're at. Like if you plug into a 110 outlet, you may not be able to do that unless it's a newer outlet and it has a high, if it can handle that kind of power. But the other option is 240 volt, 220 or 240, or level 2 charging stations, which is you would need the J1772 to 5-15. 5-15 is what a regular plug looks like at your home, right? It's the 110 volt plug, and it has the 2 prongs in the ground. That's the 5-15. Now the J1772 is a level 2 charging station, which can have like 6.6 kilowatts available. Now the V4SC Roger charger is only going to take what it can give, what this battery can accept, right? So it's a lot though. It's a lot of power. So I'm excited to see where electric unicycles continue to go, because they are improving so fast. But I'm going to keep emphasizing this, and I'm going to keep talking about this. We need to see, I want you to look at Rumble Motors. Look at Rumble Motors on YouTube. Rumble Motors was a small company. I'm calling it a small company because that's what I understood them to be. It was a group of people of individuals that wanted to start their own electric bike company or electric motorcycle company. I'm not sure if you call it electric bike or electric motorcycle. It's probably more like an electric motorcycle. Some people might call it electric bike, but they started their own company and they gave people the option to pay a couple $1,000 more, if I recall correctly, to upgrade their battery to a graphene battery. And if that small company can do that, I think that companies like leatt could offer this to us. I would be personally willing to pay a couple $1,000 more to have a graphene battery in this, where I just connect the batteries in there, and that's if it was even up to, let's say, $2,000 or possibly $4,000. I just happen to love graphene batteries enough that I would be willing to do that. So if the electric unicycle costs $4,000 and I have to pay $4,000 for the graphene batteries, I personally would be willing to do that. That's just me. But I think it'd be nice if companies could start offering that as an option for people like myself that really love graphene batteries. And I think there's a lot of us that would be willing to pay extra for that technology, right? Because it's basically going to last a very, very long time. And I don't even know how to describe how good that technology is. Imagine 4 times the range, right? So if right now, the range, let's say the range, so I went 60 miles, going like as fast as I could, 90% of the time on my ride, right? So I think that my approximation would be, and I'll make videos on this, that if I were to ride just cruising speed, cruising around, not as fast as I can go, but just cruising, let's say like 25 or 30, my guess would be that this Sherman L would probably go 100 miles or 120 miles. I would think closer to 120 miles of range. Now let's call it 100 miles of range, right? At 25, 30 miles per hour. And I'll test this. I'll do tests on this. Now, if it was graphene batteries, the graphene I'm talking about, right, the really high quality graphene, the highest quality graphene you can get, the range would be 400 miles, right? Imagine that, 400 mile range. So how often would you have to charge? Maybe like once a month or once every several weeks or a couple times a year for some people, right? I just like that. I like that myself. That's interesting to me. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to sign off. This is a True Zero Emission signing off. I don't know what else to say about this other than I'm very happy with it. Highly recommend it. I do want to say that, so Roger originally taught me how to ride an electric unicycle. When I tell the story, I tell people I pushed a shopping cart to learn. I did push a shopping cart, but when I first learned, Roger literally held his arm out, and I held onto his arm, and he ran up and down this really long driveway, and I was holding onto his arm, and I was balancing on his, I think it's called a Bigot Extreme. I think that's what it's called. And then and then Roger loaned me In Motion V10F, which is what I practiced on. And the way I practiced after that day, Roger getting me started, I held onto a shopping cart, and that's the part I usually tell. I don't usually tell the part where Roger taught me how to ride, but I'm going to mention that now because it's true. And I pushed the shopping cart. After that, I would push the shopping cart, hold onto the back of it, and just take my time getting the balance, learning the turn. And I just got better and better and better. And then I let go of the shopping cart, and I could start balancing without the shopping cart. So I do recommend, you know, if you want to try riding an electric unicycle, if you'd like to try that, I recommend like an In Motion V10F. That's what I learned on. It was great for learning. It doesn't have suspension. If you want suspension, then look at the, you can look at the, there's an In Motion what's it called? I think it's called a V11 or V11Y. You can look at those. But look at In Motion. You're going to see that some have suspension and some don't have suspension. Okay? Now, but the V10F does not have suspension, and that's what I first learned on. But I'll tell you something. I had some accidents where I was riding and I hit a bump in the road. Like, let's say a tree root is pushing up the road, and I hit a bump and my feet come off the wheel and the wheel's up in the air. and I'm not moving. I'm just holding my feet steady, and then I come back down the pedals and the wheel's going like this. And I had a lot of close calls. I didn't crash on those, but I don't know how I didn't crash sometimes. And some people, I was taught to ride it out and not panic and jump off, right? So that's what I did. I just held still while I'm in the air, and then I came back down and the wheel went like this, and then I went forward. That's the advice that I'll give to you, is ride it out. I'll also give you some tips on minimizing wobbles. Okay, I'll give you some tips on that was shared with me. Okay, some people have told me this. Now, right now I have my pads about the same on each side, but one thing some people do is they'll have one pad a little bit forward and one a little bit back. Okay, and it's not just the angle. It could just be one forward, like the angle could be the same, but one could be more forward and one could be further back, or it could be the opposite. That one could be forward and this one could be back. That, all right, or some people will ride with more weight on one foot than the other. So 60-40 is common. That's a common number, right? But the number can be your preference. The main thing is having more weight on your left than you have on your right, or more weight on your right than you have on your left. So it's about having a little more weight on one side. That can help minimize wobbles. And I'm told this that by people that are really, really at the highest level of professional racing in electric unicycles. This is what's been shared with me, and this is obviously my interpretation of what was shared with me. This is not coming directly from them. I'm telling you what I think I heard them saying to me. Sometimes information will change, so I recommend getting it from the source. Talk to professional racers. I'm just giving you some ideas right now as I understand them, and I'm telling you what I'm telling you is what I do. I applied what I understood to be shared with me, and it's worked, right? So I no longer have speed wobble problems, not just because I went with the Sherman L, but even on the links, I would sometimes have speed wobbles, and I would practice these things I'm telling you, and it would help minimize them or stop them, right? So another thing is having my feet, instead of having my feet, my heel of my foot, right? I'll call this the heel right here, and these are my toes, right? The ends of my finger will be my toes. And if I have my toes and the heel both close to the wheel on both feet, right, the wheel can wobble really easily versus having the toes out. Now imagine having your toes out like at that angle, right? Some people have gone as far as like almost 45 degrees, right? So if this is 90, then 45 is half of that. That's half, right? So that's about 45. Now maybe that's, what is that, like 40 or 35, right? It's just having those toes a little bit out on each foot, a little bit out, and that can help add stability to the wheel. Okay, this is what was shared with me. This has been shared with me. What else can I say? That's all for now. That's all I can think of for now. But ask people, ask questions, go on Facebook, join groups of electric unicycle groups where people talk about, ask questions and talk about ideas about how to minimize speed wobbles, how to learn how to ride an electric unicycle. Like I said, Roger taught me to ride by putting his arm out and running up and down a driveway, and me just learning how it feels to try to balance on an electric unicycle, because before that day happened, I had tried to ride an electric unicycle many times over the years, where someone said, oh, go ahead and try it, and I could never stand up for more than a fraction of a second. I mean, I couldn't stand up for any length of time. As soon as I would try to stand on one, I would fall off right away. And if I held on to something and tried to ride it, I would just, like, as soon as I let go of whatever I was holding on to, I'd just fall, right? So now Roger's a professional racer, so he was explaining how to ride, what to do, and that information is extremely valuable, and it's the reason I was able to catch on so quickly and learn this, because I was taught by people that are really, really good at riding, right? Roger's a professional racer and one of the fastest racers in the world, actually. So I want to recommend to you if you're even thinking about getting an electric unicycle, consider the things that I've said. If you have an electric unicycle and you're thinking about getting a Sherman L, all I can say is I'm extremely happy with it. Okay, everyone, True Zero Emissions signing off. Don't forget to wear your full face helmet and in your knee pads, right? A lot of people wear leatt knee pads. You can't see that name anymore, but that's L-E-A-T-T. And as you can see, where you see chunks of plastic missing, right, that would have been skin. Okay, that would have been my skin missing right there, probably bone too. So some people don't wear gear and get really hurt, really bad. Now I also wear hip protection underneath my pants. I have padding here, and a lot of companies, the leatt makes some padding that you can get. I would say make sure it has tailbone protection. As a professional racer, I heard explaining to other people, if you want to be able to walk after you crash, wear the padding, the tailbone protection and the padding, which is like hip pads. And that's important, right? Because if you break a hip or break a bone or break your tailbone or fall on your tailbone, even if you bruise your tailbone, it can hurt for many months. Okay, I fell on my tailbone when I was learning to ride backwards. When I was learning to ride backwards, I fell on my tailbone because I was going backwards on a driveway, really long driveway, and I got to the end of it and didn't realize it and went into some rocks. I fell backwards into some rocks, and a sharp rock hit my tailbone. And the funny thing about that is, not funny, I don't mean that, but what I mean is, what's interesting about that story is I actually did have protection. I had the armored shorts, but I had the softest and thinnest tailbone protection plate in there. After that happened, because I bruised my tailbone and it hurt for many months, I put the thick plate in, the thicker plate. I put 2 plates in, which is a thicker soft plate and a hard thin plate. I put them both in, and that's what I wear now. So you can, choose a lot of the armor. I'll put it in this video. I put the gear I wear in this video, in this description of this video. Okay, I'll put links to the gear I wear. I also want to recommend Cycle Gear to you. Cycle Gear in Pasadena. I cannot recommend them enough. Someone I know, actually the person that bought my links, bought a jacket from Cycle Gear, and I'm like, oh, I'll go look at Cycle Gear. I'll go look there, because they have a lot of gear there in stock. And I could not believe the help I received. I was having questions answered that I didn't even know how to ask. So I just want to recommend to you, Cycle Gear is a great place to go. They are so helpful. I just cannot believe how helpful it was. So I do highly recommend Cycle Gear. But if you just want to look at motorcycle gear, if you want to look at mountain bike gear, that's good. But think about the speeds you're going to be going, right? And try to get gear that will protect you at the speeds you're planning to go, right? So if you're planning to go 65 miles per hour, which is the max speed, not the max, but it's a higher level of speed that some of these can reach, I think a mountain bike helmet may not be appropriate, but unless it's rated for those speeds, right? If it's rated for those speeds, then that's fine. I recently purchased from Cycle Gear a carbon fiber Alpine Star, I think it's called SuperTech SM10, if I recall correctly, that weighs like just over 2 pounds. It feels like I'm not wearing a helmet. I like that. I like how that is. Now it has great protection too. It has great protection in it. So I crashed recently really hard, and my head was protected. So I'm really glad that I had all my correct gear on, proper gear on. That made a big difference, right? Because I was able to get up and walk away from that accident. Now if I had no gear on, like some people ride with no gear, or just wear a helmet, or wear all the gear and no helmet, right? They'll wear all the gear and no helmet, or they'll wear a helmet and no other gear, right? Some people do this, right? Now some people go, oh, I'm just going to go around the corner to the pharmacy or to the store, and they'll jump on their electric unicycle and go ride, and they'll hit something little in the road and fall. And imagine falling on your electric unicycle, or falling on a rock, or falling on something, and it hurts you really bad, and your whole leg turns black and your knee turns black, or you get really hurt, right? Now I'm not talking about any particular person right now, because a lot of people have similar injuries. So I'm not picking on anybody when I say this right now. I'm not like trying to pick on anybody, because you're gonna think, oh, that's me, he's talking about me. No, I'm talking about, I know many people that have done this, where they fall and they bruise their leg and they hurt their knees and they get really hurt, and it could take many months. It could take even years to heal from some injuries. Just wear your knee pads, just wear your gear, right? Wear your gear. These are Alpine Star boots. I'm very happy with these. These protected me. Look at this. See where it grinded on the boot right there? These are brand new boots, by the way. See where it grinded right there? That would have been my skin if I didn't have that on, right? And you see where it grinded there? Again, I'm just going to keep repeating myself. That would have been my knee skin. That would have been my skin. So wear the proper gear. Very, very important, okay? All right, everyone, True Zero Emission signing off. I keep saying that, but I really am leaving that this time. And guess what? If you get an electric unicycle, will you have to go to gas stations, right? No. Maybe to put air in your tire, but you can just buy those little portable air pumps and do that. Now, I am planning to power this with solar panels and an array of batteries. So if I get batteries sufficient to charge this and then get some solar panels, then I can charge this with sunlight. How great would that be? That's going to be in future videos. Okay, everyone, True Zero Emission signing off. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.